Hi, Marie. Thanks for joining as always. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Vugana Tuesday. Thank you for coming. Today's topic is interesting but also sensitive for some people. But I'm glad you all are joining us. So let's wait till we have a few more people come in. How's everybody doing? Happy Independence for those in Burundi or who are in a time zone where it's already midnight. Burundi representing. Actually, I should have Inhins on the on somewhere maybe here or something. Hello, Dory. Happy Independence. She said, "I'm waiting for this live." Happy Independence, everyone. So it's interesting that we're having this topic on Independence Day. Um, but since it's not Independence Day here in the U.S., I guess it's all right. It's all right. Hopefully, maybe we might do a special Independence Day uh, live tomorrow.
Hey, there you go.
Hello, Dory.
Hey,
Yes, umunsi mwiza wo kwikukira mu gihugu cyacu. Happy Independence Day, Naomi.
happy Independence Day.
It's already midnight in Burundi, so we have to start celebrating now, even
So you
though.
wanted to take away from Congo today? Really?
No, that was not the case. It's already midnight.
Wow.
I'm only respecting the time in Burundi.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, but so we will be postponing our live for a few minutes. So, Marie, actually, it's already 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're supposed to start at 6:30 Eastern time.
L-
Um,
It's all my fault. I took it as Eastern time and I told our guests the wrong time. So if you guys have anybody to blame, blame me.
but Naomi, for those who don't know you, what is your role in Tubugane?
My name is Naomi and I'm Tubugana's servant. No, I'm just kidding.
You are not a servant.
No. No, no, no. I wholeheartedly agree with everything Tavagana stands for. So I'm part of whatever I can do because I'm not in Kentucky, but I love what we do. So I'm just I guess I help. I'm on the board.
So yeah, Naomi will be hosting today's conversation. Um, Again, I'm gonna blame her. It's her fault. We're late.
Yes, it is. It is my fault. We're on African time today.
But no, just gonna take this few minutes while we wait for our guests and to join us in that. Thank you. But for those who are still joining us, happy independence to our people who are in Burundi. I don't have a flag up, so I have to raise this one up and be like,
I still have to get one.
yeah, I don't have one either. Actually, I lost mine. But yeah, this is good enough for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what does independence mean to you? Like, as somebody who has not lived in Burundi, but um, you wholeheartedly support and stand for everything that Burundi stands for.
I think it's very similar where it's not it's very similar to Juneteenth, where it's saying we haven't arrived, but we can celebrate how far we've come.
Hmm.
So, and that I think it's dope that there's a lot of progress that is being made and been made and is currently being made right now.
Hmm. Yeah, I think for a lot of people who are not in Burundi, that like it's just a time to just not only like reflect on what it means for them to be Burundian, but also to just know like there's a root to where we, we're to your identity, and if you do support or continue to support Burundi, it's like it's a celebration of you know progress, but also things to come.
Progression, yes.
Yes. Belize, it's not actually upside down. It's the reflection because of the camera. I don't know how else to do it because you know what, the Tavi has
C-
Burundi and it has Gishora, my Gitega people, you know where Gishora is. Uh, uh, so it's not upside down actually. Yeah. But Naomi, yes, yes, Belize. But Naomi, like, what do you think is the significance of today's conversation? Or
Hopefully, we can lay some groundwork and kind of dispel some myths of what sexual assault is, and kind of start a conversation that hasn't really been spoken about but is known in the Burundian community.
mhm,
Because I know that in the Burundian community, it's kind of like a pride where we don't want to talk about things that are happening inside the family or name people that are doing things, because then you get labeled as somebody seeking attention or somebody wanting to ruin somebody else's family, and just talking about the importance of speaking out.
mhm. But so for those who do, I think there are people who still believe like it's such a sensitive topic that we shouldn't talk about it, or like it's something that we should run away from. How would you be a message to those kind of people or people who believe that way?
Well, if we never talk about it, there's never progress that's going to be made. And sensitive topics don't mean that they shouldn't happen. It means that they should happen with care. And that's what I hope we can do today.
Hmm. Yes, and that's the whole that's the whole point of Topogani Tuesdays. Just to get to speak about those issues and conversations that normally we wouldn't want to have as a community, or normally we would shy away from saying or doing anything about. So um, I'm glad
And
we're
that's why I'm
having today's
excited about our
conversation.
guest, because our guest is one of the, I would say, um, one of the brave, I don't call people who went through sexual assault victims, I call them survivors. She's one of the brave survivors that has actually called out um, her assault, the people that assaulted her. And I know that there has been a lot of backlash because she did that. And so I'm excited to hear what caused her to speak out and what encouragement she could give other people that have been suffering from silence in that.
Hmm. So for those who don't know what kind of backlashes she's received, do you mind catching people up
A lot of
while
people,
we wait?
a lot of people, a lot of people were saying that she wants attention. Of course, that's the number one go-to. Some think that she was lying on people's names, and because one of the people that she called was a pastor, um, there was a lot of backlash, and especially because he's married and has kids.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I really it's interesting because I think I forget what time it was, but there was a time where like there was a big story out of Australia where a pastor was arrested and convicted for like this kind of thing, and I remember a lot of people were like Atinuma, like that's not something you should talk about because he's a pastor, but those are the kind of thing we should be doing, like calling them out, because if somebody's leading a community and they're not they're not representing what they stand for. Like as we were talking about in the topic on religion, like uh we can't just be complacent about these things and expect them to change. We have to say something. We have to do something in order for us to to be able to make either make progress or not just be like blind leading the blind.
Of course, and accountability always has to happen. And it's not to say that people can't move forward from an experience like that if you're the perpetrator, but it is not hiding behind your power or your
Right.
place of privilege and pretending like you can do whatever you want and still get all of the accolades that you're getting, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But so I think the other thing that we normally talk about is you know, I think it was brought up when we talked about Black Lives Matter, you know, on the Blackout Tuesday, the fact that you know, a lot of people were focusing on, you know, black men but not black women. Um, and for me, I guess one of the things that also struck me was the fact like the lady that we had on was like, you know, I support this movement wholeheartedly, but at the same time, I cannot make it a limited movement. You know what I mean? And she made it further. So for you, what do you think in this moment, like other men or other people in power, you know, what kind of how can they be allies in these kind of situations?
I think the best form of allyism, if that is a word, I'm making up words, y'all, today, okay, is exactly what Pristella underscore S said. One, being able to hold their counterparts accountable, and then two, educating what it is. What is sexual harassment? Like, what is the spectrum of having a sexual those experiences, speaking out against them, but we have to be well versed on what it is, you know?
Hmm. And I appreciate all the men who are here, you know, to talk about this topic too. DJ Burundi are here saying we have to speak, we have to, you know, we have to speak out to Madori, Mehdi, um, and just sticking on the topic of being allies. I was listening to another live, a Burundian woman who is part of the city council in Canada. She was saying that in terms of the Black Lives Matter movement, that a white person should now specifically call themselves allies if black people don't call them allies. So would you say that that kind of holds in terms of this conversation as well? Should men call themselves allies if women are not calling them allies?
First and foremost, I want to make something specific and clear. I want people to know that sexual assault is not specific to the female gender. So there are men
Right.
that have experienced sexual assault also. So I
Mm-hmm.
believe that an ally is someone that hasn't experienced it, but still is standing
Sure.
with the person that is sharing their story. And it
Right.
goes for both ways. I can be an ally and you can be an ally too. I think that maybe in that case, it was talking about when you call yourself an ally, but your actions aren't really ally-ish. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Where you can't give yourself kudos when you're not doing
Right.
anything that considers you an ally.
Mm-hmm. But and that's what I'm getting at. I think even here, because one thing that I personally think we don't talk about in our Burundian community is toxic masculinity, and I think that's one of the factors that perpetuates perpetuates this kind of you know, this kind of behavior. So that's what I was getting at. So
Lord.
you know, for somebody to say I'm an ally, but you know, the things they're saying or the things that they're doing do not represent, you know, that specific stance. Like, should they be allies?
No, I think that the first step is unlearning a lot of things. And
Mm-hmm.
unlearning things is always going to be a progress. So first and foremost, I would say if you don't know something, then be quiet and let somebody that does know talk.
Uh-huh.
But you can be an ally and not know. Because the first thing is saying, hey, I don't know much about this, but I want to. And going to groups, going to read your books, going to look, YouTube makes it so easy. You can look up a lot of stuff
Anything.
and educate yourself. Come on.
Uh-huh.
And all of that is a part of wanting to be an ally. And then if you have places of privilege, if you have platforms, being openly vocal about it helps also.
Yeah. Facts. So, yeah, those people with platforms, honestly, and I know, uh, and I know, there's a lot of Burundian platforms out here, and again, this was a hot topic. I think last week or 2 weeks ago, everybody was talking about it,
Yes.
and I was really impressed by how many people were coming, were speaking out and giving voices to those, who felt like they didn't have a voice. So, I want to congratulate everybody who really spoke out around that time. Um,
Yeah, but I think that it's sad that it took somebody dying in order for that to happen.
mhm.
And yes, I want to celebrate how far we've come because these were conversations that we weren't able to have before. But the fact that people that are sharing their stories are still having to argue why it's important for them to speak out 10 years after the fact. Like
Right.
that's how people are shaming people now. It happened when you were younger. Why are you saying something now? Um, it just means that we still have a lot of progress to go.
Right. No, honestly, like I said earlier, we do have a lot of progress, especially within our communities. I think just like, all these different systemic and structural problems that, that are out there, I think we have to shift the paradigm and shift the narrative on how we talk about these things, or even how we approach our positions of privilege. And that's why I asked you that question about men being allies. And I'm glad you brought out the fact that it's not just an issue that happens to women, but also men. Um, Tuguma said, if he doesn't know something, can he ask instead of being quiet? And
Yeah,
I'm gonna go further with this question. W- if there is a right way, what is the right way to ask this kind of questions?
I don't think that there is
If
a
there
right
is.
way. Me personally, I don't think that there is a right way, but I think if you know somebody personally, you can sit in and then ask them if they're comfortable. If you want to know that way, but if not, CDC has plenty books on what sexual assault is, and they also have a lot of like what to do and a lot of more information pamphlets and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
that's always that's always something that you could do to like learn more, and then you can go to check out your city and see if there's any like nonprofits or any places for people for survivors that have gone through it, and see if you can volunteer or see if you can give back in any way.
Right. No, for that. So again, for those who are just joining us, our guest will be coming on around 7:30 Eastern time, which is 6:30 Central time. So we just took a few minutes to have a small conversation about the topic, and also to wish happy independence to our people in Burundi. Uh, and it's kind of, it's weird or ironic that, I'm saying happy independence and we're having such a serious and sensitive conversation. Um, so yeah, we have to take the topic and keep it as serious as it is. But I guess one last question for you, Naomi, before I hand the hosting back to you. Um, uh, so it's so when this may be a more of academic question, but so we talk about trauma as a general topic. We talk about resilience and how people become resilient due to what they've faced. Is there a place for resilience in this kind of situation? And if there is, what does resilience look like?
I think that any survivor that's still breathing is resilient, because the number one thing that happens with people that have experienced sexual assault at a very young age is that they often become depressed, and then often can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. They often become
Yeah.
depressed, and that often leads to suicide attempts. And so many people that have experienced sexual assault, they get into a place where they're not able to be productive citizens, participants in life because of that.
Mhm.
And so I think that if they're showing up, if they're doing their that's all progress. That's all a form of them progressing, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. And healing, I know a lot of people are like, with time, but healing has no time frame.
Right.
Especially for people that have experienced sexual assault. So just taking it every day, if they're waking up another day and they're doing what they need to do, that is it.
Hmm. And that's why I'm saying I think just having these conversations is not enough, and or even the fact that somebody is choosing, or these stories are coming out, to this extent, because we can talk about even the Me Too movement that started last year. Um,
Yep.
it's not dead. It's something that has to be continuously worked on, and
Yeah.
and we have to complement it with shifting our narratives. I think that's my view. Our narratives, our language as well, and also our actions. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah. And I think a big thing that happens is oftentimes there are very unhealthy ways to cope after you've experienced sexual assault. And most times, females that have been violated in that way often go to reclaim their sexuality by having multiple sexual partners, because they want to reclaim that their own way,
Hmm.
because they were violated in that area. And a lot of times, especially in the Burundian community, females that are more looser, a lot of people tend to like not take um, their word more serious, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. Like they discredit what the person has to say because of the experiences, or because of the way they chose to cope with what they went through. So I think that um, a better way for us to care is, instead of shaming someone because they're coping, finding out what the root of the root of what's going on, and seeing how you can love someone through it, and seeing how you can help them to find healthier ways to cope.
Hmm. Yeah, no, seriously, I think again, it's a serious topic that has to be dealt with at both levels, and also in terms of understanding both, how sorry, I'm not victim, but a survivor is choosing to cope, but also being allies towards, what they've experienced and how they're coping with it, in terms of like supporting their growth and resilience. Um, for those who are joining us, we have in 2 minutes we'll be bringing on our guest for today, and our topic is speaking up against sexual assault. Um, so we have 1 minute. I'm gonna let Naomi take over. She will be hosting our conversation for today. Um, So if you would allow me, I will end this live and we'll start another one. She will welcome our guest. And yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.